Along the immutable edges of the cosmos, where stardust meets eternal silence, stories of origins and endings are born and reborn. Human beings lift their eyes and sense, beyond the vibration of light, the pressure of a single question. When will the ultimate clock of the worlds strike? Inside that space between fear and fascination, our film is set. A journey toward the far horizon of time and simultaneously toward the secret chamber of the human heart. Within Islamic tradition, the end bears a clear and solemn name, Yawm al Qiyāmah, the day of universal resurrection and the final judgment under the sole authority of Allah. It is not merely the hour when matter collapses. It is the instant in which the meaning of the whole of life becomes visible. From the first radiant atom ever created to the final reverberation of time, everything shall be gathered to be measured. To the 21st century viewer, surrounded by notifications and multicolored graphs, such a vision sounds almost fantastic. Yet it arose in a desert world where the sand wrote migrating histories and the stars served as calendar, compass, and legend. Let us return there for a moment. Let the imaginary camera glide across tents and caravanserais, across people gazing toward the scorched horizon, and above all, let us hear a prophetic voice. In the 7th century, in Mecca, the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, recited verses that opened books of the future. Among them, the images of judgment were vivid. Mountains would be pulverized, seas would boil, and humanity would stand in ranks awaiting the verdict of the Creator. For a tribal society, the idea that power and status would not tilt the final balance was nothing short of revolutionary. The Qur'an mentions in dozens of passages the day on which the stars will scatter and the earth will confess its secrets. Verses swear by the dawn that splits the darkness and by the clouds that bring rain, that no deed, however small, shall be forgotten. These images rooted in souls the conviction that the seemingly firm order of reality can, in an instant, become a river of fire and light. Why, then, did this vision take hold so deeply? The answer lies in the tensions of the moment. The Arabian Peninsula felt the pressure of neighboring empires. Drought altered caravan routes, and ancient beliefs no longer offered a complete response. Prophecy revealed a hidden meaning to suffering and showed that history is not a blind succession, but a strand within a just design. As Islam crossed deserts, seas, and mountain ranges, scholars in Damascus, Baghdad, and Cordoba placed the signs of judgment on metaphysical maps. They commented on hidden clocks, counted years and eclipses, and debated whether the appearance of a meteor was a minor sign or a mere natural tremor. Through manuscripts copied upon parchment, the idea spread that linear human time actually flows between two trumpet blasts. The minor signs that raise the curtain are many and subtle. Tradition says that time will feel shorter, that the intoxication of luxury will make hearts forget prayer, that senseless killings will become frequent, and that people will compete in constructing ever taller buildings that seem to bite the clouds. This portrait of an accelerated present provokes a shiver, for the viewer recognizes in it his or her own era. Other minor signs speak of unsuitable music echoing everywhere, of children governing their parents, or of shepherds rising to rule from palaces of crystal. Each image has a social root. Vertical cities, inverted hierarchies, the globalization of pleasure. It is not solely prophecy. It is a keen analysis of the heart's tendency toward excess. When the minor sequence is fulfilled, the first major sign appears, a just leader, al-Mahdi, who brings peace and distributes wealth until nobody can find a poor person to whom to offer alms. He repairs broken ties, yet his reign is but a prelude to the storm. That storm bears a terrifying name: Dajjal, the great deceiver. He is depicted as a man with one living eye, bearing upon his brow the mark of unbelief. His false marvels will mislead multitudes. He shall command the sky to rain, and it will rain. He shall order the earth to yield, and it will yield, but all will be illusion. In the Islamic narrative, Dajjal represents not merely an individual, but the magnetism of imposture promising humanity an immediate paradise on earth. To break the enchantment, Isa, son of Mary, descends from the heavens. He brings no new faith. Rather, he confirms the message of divine unity, and according to the reports, he slays Dajjal at a place called the Eastern Gate. This conjunction between a Messiah awaited by Christians and the consummation of Islamic prophecy builds a theological bridge across centuries. After this victory, the world breathes a brief peace. Yet Gog and Magog, two tribes described as unbridled forces, shatter the walls that confine them and surge over the earth. They consume resources, drain waters, and shoot arrows toward the sky until the sky sends down a lethal answer that extinguishes them. When calm is restored, nature itself becomes a herald. A thick smoke covers the horizon, and human beings inhale a materialized dread. Some contemporary commentators read in this image planetary pollution or a nuclear cloud. Others say it symbolizes collective ignorance condensed into substance. The smoke is an alarm for those who have ignored earlier subtle signs. From the earth's depths rises Dabatul Ard, the beast. It touches people's foreheads and reveals like a living hologram the state of their faith. Its presence shows that even matter turns witness and that denial becomes impossible. The most unsettling astronomical sign follows. The sun rises in the west. Moral and physical axes reverse. The gate of repentance, traditions tell us, closes with this event. Whoever has not believed up to that point will no longer regain the lost time. At last, a fire bursts from the south of the Arabian Peninsula and drives all souls toward the plain of judgment. No geographic refuge remains. It is the moment when distances, passions, and titles dissolve before a single destination. The trumpet of the angel sounds twice. The first time, every living thing ceases. The universe becomes compact silence. After a pause known only to the Creator, the second blast clothes bones with flesh, lifts eyelids, awakens memory. Angels unfold ledgers, deeds traced upon strands of gold or of lead. Before the throne, perfectly calibrated scales will weigh not only action, but also intention. The image is not meant to terrify, but to awaken. Compressed time announces the need to cherish each instant. Towers biting the sky symbolize technological hubris. Dajjal is the false promise of progress without ethics. Isa represents compassion crossing confessional lines. Gog and Magog are uncontrolled economic forces, and the smoke embodies negligence toward the moral law. These metaphors have shaped daily practice. In mosques, preachers invoke judgment to inspire charity. Caliphs and sultans founded philanthropic institutions, knowing that a single dinar given might weigh more than a palace gained through cruelty. Within Christianity, the story of the end includes the Antichrist and the return of Christ, mirroring the Dajjal-Isa confrontation. In Judaism, the Messianic age proclaims a reign of peace. Though details differ, Every tradition describes a moral crisis followed by perfect justice. Comparative studies push further, aligning Islam with Zoroastrian mythology, in which molten metal purifies the planet, and with Hindu cycles in which destruction by fire prepares rebirth. Even the Scandinavian legend of Ragnarok leaves behind a green shoot. The common thread is the conviction that between an ending and a new beginning, there exists a bridge of fire and truth. In modern times, Yawm al Qiyāmah has entered comic books, independent films and video games. Producers in the Levant film The Crimson Sky of the Smoke. Science fiction writers recast Dajjal as a global algorithm. Gamers cross the Sirat Bridge in a virtual reality level. Media scholars analyze how game studios employ Oriental motifs, shattered domes, golden calligraphy, echoes of the call to prayer to suggest the end of days. The debate is intense. Is this a form of appreciation or merely digital exoticism? On social platforms, hashtags devoted to the final signs gather millions of views. Videos of red storms are compared with the Dukhan, and photographs of clear sky after wildfires become symbols of rebirth. Behind the screens, fear and hope interweave exactly as they once did beneath desert tents. Social scientists use the idea of an eschatological horizon to explain ecological movements or protests against corruption. When people believe time is shortening, they tend to demand justice more urgently, plant trees more swiftly, forgive more readily. In daily ritual, the echo of the end resounds, even in the greeting formula, "Peace be upon you, and the mercy and blessing of Allah." It reminds the listener that, at judgment, peace will not be a mere courtesy, but the most coveted verdict. Popular literature from South Asia has transformed the scale into a recurring character, the old man who weighs shadows. In folk tales, he gathers laborers' shadows and measures them in a bronze cup. If the shadow outweighs the body, the person harbors guilty intentions. The tale perfectly reproduces the notion that intention weighs as heavily as deed. Islamic architecture translates eschatological expectation into stone. Double domes, minarets piercing the clouds, geometric muqarnas suggest passages from the shadow of incompletion to absolute light. Certain mosques orient their courtyards so that the first ray of sunrise falls directly upon the word life carved in marble, reminding believers that each daily dawn foreshadows the ultimate dawn. In medieval jurisprudence, thinkers linked commercial rules to the Day of Judgment. Unjust contracts were declared void because future moral cost could not be ignored. Thus, the principle of eschatological equity entered caravans of merchandise and accounting ledgers alike. Ilkhanid miniature artists painted crimson landscapes with inverted mountains and flocks gazing into the firmament, and in a page corner, a tiny trumpeter. Those paintings prove that apocalypse played out not only in preacherly rhetoric, but also in an artist's palette. In the 19th century, when colonialism struck the Orient, reformist thinkers used the rhetoric of signs to awaken the populace. They identified the minor decadence of their era as proof that greater clouds approached, calling for education and science. Apocalypse became a motor of renewal. In the 21st century, films about asteroid collisions or supervolcanoes provoke reactions on Muslim forums. Parallels are drawn between these images and traditional signs, and the place of the trumpet is debated in a world of satellites. Psychologists label the phenomenon eschatological vigilance, Research shows that individuals convinced of a just ending are more likely to volunteer and to adopt sober lifestyles. Fatalism appears, yet only in small measure. The dominant ethos is moral optimism. Linguists note that constant preaching about the future has shaped Arabic and Persian grammar, generating phrases heavy with anticipation. Each sentence sets, like a bowstring, the tension between present and that absolute tomorrow. Contemporary Muslim astronomers, from observatories in Morocco to telescopes in Malaysia, watch the sun with attention surpassing scientific curiosity. They calculate every anomaly in solar motion, keeping watch for the reversed sunrise, a bridge between physics and faith. In Middle Eastern cinema, directors experiment with frames in which urban noise fades beneath a synthesized trumpet call. Even when scripts omit explicit canonical signs, their narratives follow the minor-major resolution pattern, evidence that apocalyptic structure has infiltrated the language of film. Even artificial intelligence joins the dialogue on endings. Ethicists ponder whether, in a fully automated future, algorithms might judge deeds. The prevailing answer is negative and reaffirms what Yawm al Qiyāmah has proclaimed for centuries. Ultimate responsibility cannot be delegated. We pause, finally, beneath the quiet sky of evening. Distant stars burn, reminders of the first creation. Perhaps the trumpet will not sound for another 1,000 years. Perhaps it will tremble tomorrow. What matters is that the thread of the story urges vigilance and the beauty of a clear heart. If any moment may be the last, then every moment may be the beginning of infinite good. Now, at the close of our film, the sky has not yet cracked, the trumpet has not yet called, yet its imagined echo resounds in our temples. Look at the light coming through the window. Listen to your breathing. Examine your intentions. If we have succeeded in awakening not only fear, but also a hunger for justice, then our path has achieved its purpose. For upon the threshold of judgment, a truth is illuminated. The ending is the page upon which the everlasting beginning is written.